Hello, hello. Welcome to Makers Monday. Today is the last of the pre-recorded Makers Mondays. Murphy is very excited about it. He's barking at the neighbors. I'll be back next week on my birthday to talk about, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I'll be talking about, it'll be an Ask Me Anything and it'll be live and I can't wait to see you all and reconnect. Little babe might even make an appearance because who knows what life will have in store for us. So anyway, this week we are talking about how to find your authentic voice in your business, but also like especially when writing copy or like the words that you use for your email and your Instagram and social media content and stuff like that. So how to find your authentic voice. So this is something that I will just full transparency. I was an English major. I love to talk. I don't know, this, just spouting off blah, 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 blah is very much more comfortable for me than for others. So I recognize that this is not a natural thing. Sometimes I know if my husband's even trying to write a birthday card, it takes an hour. So, because he's just really thinking about what he wants to say. And I know this does not just run out of your fingertips to all people. But here are some things. I definitely struggled a lot when starting my business because I had this idea of what I wanted to be and what I thought my business should be. And quite frankly, it just wasn't me. It didn't feel true to who I am. So when I started my business, I was I'm going to do elegant, high-class stationery for fancy events and etc. And I'm going to come off as super elegant, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know if you've gathered this so far, but I couldn't be elegant if I tried. No, don't take me to a fancy dinner party. I will spill on myself. So, it just wasn't me. It just didn't feel me. It didn't feel real. It just felt okay, you jokester, what are you trying to do here? So, what does feel authentic to me is eventually we transitioned into this okay, this is me, this is real, this is behind the scenes, you're seeing the pretty side, you're seeing the ugly side, you're seeing it all. And that felt very much more comfortable for me because it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Sometimes you're a hot mess and that's okay too. And also the silly side, I love puns. Obviously, if you see my more recent work, it's all about puns. That makes me deliriously happy. So that's been a journey, and I'm going to kind of take you through some ideas of how you can get to that point for your business. So even when you have a lot of ideas of what your business should be, spoiler alert, here you go. This is this kind of blew my mind, but also it's a duh, but your business should be like you, especially if you are the face of your business. This is called Kate Talcott Artistry. It isn't called Fancy Pants McPhee personalized stationery. No, this is me. This is my business. This is what I'm about. So it should reflect me and what I'm about. Okay. Especially if it has your name in it. I know a lot of people don't like posting their faces and stuff like that, but it should be a reflection of what your values are. Okay. So what is important to you when you're thinking about what you're posting, what you're sharing on your emails? What are your company's, what are your values? What are your company's values? So for me, a big one is community and sharing. This BizBuds thing, I'm not making any money off of this, but this is really important to me, and being able to share with and create community with newer business owners is that's a huge priority to me because it makes me happy because I enjoy it. And, hopefully, the goal is to be helpful to you. And I feel that has been I've been getting a lot of traction through that, and that makes me really happy because that's my goal, is to create this community. So that's really important to me. So that's somewhere where I'm pouring my attention in, and I want it to feel comfortable. I don't know if you've gathered, but it's definitely not scripted because I'm rambling on like a silly goose over here. But I want it to feel comfortable. I want it to feel like a conversation. I don't want this to feel like me, the teacher, being like, it's like, I want to help you find what works best for you. And I hope that comes across. So, yeah, what is important to you? It's also another example, like more on the product side of things, is I want things to be easy for folks who maybe don't have their shit together, which is fine. I want to make it really easy for those folks to feel like they've got their A game going on. Like, I want to make products that make it look like they had it all together because, you know, sometimes it's nice to feel prepared. And so a lot of my content, like I create gift guides to help people think of like a cohesive gift to get their loved one who is maybe like a plant mom or something. Or we're coming up with these thank you logs. So I don't know about you, but whenever we have like kid's birthday, whatever, like Christmas, it's hard to remember who got what. And so this way you just have your notebook, put it down, and then whenever you remember to write thank you notes, sorry, I'm bumping the camera, it's there, okay? So those kind of things. It's important for me to give people access to things that make it easy to celebrate the people that they love. So I try to pull that through. And if you look on my website, you can see what our goals are, like what KTA is all about, and it helps share it with your people, share it on your website, share it all around, because it helps remind you what's important to you and why you started this business in the first place. Okay. So next, what feels weird when you post about it? I don't love posting like product things that are just like, here's the new product, check it out. Like, I want to find a way to make it, here's the new product, and this is how it could be helpful for you. Because just being like, I mean, I think that's good business practice in general, like explaining why somebody would want it. But honestly, I really like sharing more about like the behind the scenes of the product, or why it came to be, or like making it fun or funky. So that just feels more natural to me. So that's what I go with. Like, if something feels weird and you're like, I don't know, like, or another example, like I don't share a ton about my kids. Like, I know some business owners are like all about it. They, you know, share their names and all this stuff. And like, we're very selective. I think my background in like media training and stuff for being a teacher, like this is not a judgment thing at all. But like, I just think for me, thinking of the long game, it will be easier for me to be like, you gotta be careful on the internet. Like these are the decisions we made so that so that you're not all over the internet. And now you can carry on that legacy when she's like a teenager or whatever. I think that'll be an easier conversation. But I mean, like, everybody does their own thing. Like, this is definitely not a judgment call at all. But like, for me, that just seemed like the easiest thing. So we don't share a ton. Like, we don't share their names. And that's just something that we do, because that was not part, like, that's definitely something Andy feels really strongly about. And I want to be respectful of that. And it doesn't work for our family. So that being said, what feels good to post about? So as if you've been following me for a while, you know that I post probably a fair amount about like body positivity and like being authentic to your true you, and that you have value and self-care and things like that. These are important to me. And I think it goes along, you know, it's not like directly tied to the business, but it certainly ties into this BizBuds thing of like, be true to you. And that's important. And it's something that I've been working really hard on, and I want to share that. And I've gotten a lot of like good feedback on it. I will say, like, posts where I talk about that kind of stuff, like, perform way better than like a picture of a card. So there's that like engagement piece, but it's something that I think is important to share for me. So like, what are your we talked about content pillars in the past. So if you want to think about this more, like what are your content pillars, definitely go back and check out that Maker's Monday about content pillars. So what, yeah, and this brings me to my next point of what resonates with your audience. Okay. As I've mentioned, pictures of cards, it's like 18 likes, which is fine. But mostly I'm just putting it there so people could see it. And then it's like part of the grid portfolio, whatever. The things that people really respond to is when I share about myself and my family and my journey and whatever, like personal stuff. And I think that helps people connect to the products that we are making. So that's what gets the most traction. So I try to think of that when creating my emails to my newsletter and my Instagram posts and things like that. So yeah, sharing and being authentic definitely helps with engagement. People can tell when you're being real with them. Fun fact, if you just even have like a hand, like if it's just like your product and you're holding it in your hand and you don't even see the face, like that will get so much more engagement than if it's just the product, no human parts. Why do I have to say that in like the creepiest way? Like you're just gonna have like a limb and I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so like those perform better, which is weird, but it's the truth. If you are comfortable showing your face, show your face, get emotional, share the tough stuff. People like supporting humans, not robots. How many times have you gotten a follow or a comment from somebody and you're like, you are 100% a robot? No, thank you. Like people want to support you. Like think about all the people who you follow and like look for in their stories and are like, yes, I love this content. It's because they're sharing about themselves. It's not, it's usually, at least for me, it's not so much about their product, but then when they do have a new product, I'm like, yeah, I want to support you because I love you. So yeah. Another thing to think about when getting your like authentic voice is what words would you use? I think we put so much pressure on like how we should sound and what we should be like. But if it doesn't sound like what you would say when actually talking, like you're not writing a term paper, you're not writing a dissertation, okay? Like school rules, forget it. If you're gonna, like, you can type out wanna, W-A-N-N-A. You can type out like, squee or whatever. Like you can you can use 1,000 exclamation marks. My personal favorite. You can write how you talk. And I think that really brings that personal piece in a lot. And talk how you talk. Like you don't have to be like, hello, today is Maker's Monday. It's about da 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 da. And you'll see, actually, if you go back and look at my first Maker's Monday, I was like much more formal than I am right now when I'm like squealing fun sounds at you. And it's just become more comfortable and more conversational. And so that goes to show, like, the more you do it, the more comfortable it's going to feel. So, yeah, talk like how you talk. You already have your personal vibe, your personal style. It's just a matter of reflecting that onto the digital page. Another great one you could do is ask your friends to describe you using like a couple of adjectives, like, I don't know, fun, loud, quirky would probably be what people would say about me or something like that. Like nobody would say like serious, sophisticated, pensive. Like think about how the people who love you would describe you, and then you can kind of think of those words as a focusing way to kind of guide what your tone should be, if that aligns with your business. And then pick projects that you're excited about. Talk about things that you're excited about because that's what you're doing. You should be excited about your business. Like in relation to a couple Makers Mondays ago, like say no when it's not a good fit, because I mean, if I don't post a lot about something, it's because I'm kind of like, but if I'm excited about it, I'm going to post about it a lot because I'm excited and I want to hype that up. And that's the kind of energy that, I mean, people can tell if you're like, oh, this is this thing that I'm working on. I was like, whatever. No, like people want to see you be excited, because if you don't like what you're doing, they're not gonna like what you're doing. Like people pick up on that. So some other folks gave some feedback. So let's see. Nicole says, this is hard, but having the values and mission is critical for me in this area. So we've talked about like having goals and values like ahead of time to know what your business is all about. And she's saying this is helpful because it helps direct your content. Same thing with the content pillars that we've talked about in the past. Like that gives you a really good guide of like topics to cover. Okay. So she says it's easy to get swept up in the idea that what's popular is what people want. And it may even be easier than what you're doing right now, but staying true to the business and being authentic and original is actually what people want. Knowing I'm free to do what my creativity wants has been so freeing. I can appreciate what others are doing without getting caught up in the trends. So that's a really great point too. Like I know the algorithm and all this stuff to like do reels and, you know, try it out, but like find a way. If you're not like a pointy dancer, that's okay. Like there are a lot of different ways to participate in reels that can feel more authentic to you. Like, and if you're feeling pointy and dancy, like lean in, go for it. Like you don't have to be doing exactly what everybody else is doing. Quite frankly, it's probably refreshing to see something new, because like how many times do you swipe through something that you've already seen 1,000 times? Okay. And then Michelle says, I'm still working to keep my style and vibe true to me. I'm learning my voice. It takes years to do this sometimes, and that's okay. When you're excited about what you're creating, then you know it's true. I so agree. Like when you're excited about what's going on, like it's gonna feel more real, more, I mean, I don't know, like this, like you can tell on these videos that I love talking about the stuff and helping, like hopefully finding something that might resonate with you. Like it just feels more exciting because I'm excited about it. I hope. I mean, totally making assumptions on how you, I don't know, if you're still watching by now, you must be enjoying this to some extent, right? Okay, whatever. And then, yeah, so Dee says, letting the art speak through my work. Yeah, so again, if you're not super comfortable posting your face, like your artwork or your craft can be what does the speaking. Like if you like people who have really strong aesthetics, and maybe they don't focus so much on the words. Maybe it's the visual piece. Like maybe it's letting the artwork speak for itself, which is also like you can really create a beautiful story. It doesn't all have to be verbal. So that's another really, really great point. I'm a very verbal person. Shocking. But you don't have to be, and it's okay if it's like short, sweet, and to the point. People might appreciate your brevity. I wouldn't know. I don't know how to do that. But if you're more like, I know some people just have the most beautifully curated visual content, and especially if your medium is like very visual, like that certainly lends itself to that. Or, you know, maybe if you're a musician, like focus on that audio. Like there's so many ways to capture people's hearts and minds. So as long as it feels like something that is kind of true to you, like, yeah, it's going to feel uncomfortable because you're like going from like having this inside your heart and putting it out there in the world, right? That's uncomfortable for some, and for many, I would say. But the more you talk about the things that get you jazzed, the more other people are going to get jazzed about it. So, yeah, those would be my tips. I'll be posting a blog on how to find your authentic voice later this week with a little worksheet that might help you get to that point. So this is like a little teaser. And I will see you next week live with your Ask Me Anything. So hopefully people show up, or else I'm just going to be like talking about nothing. So I don't know, fun facts, anything you want to know, business, life, whatever related, book recommendations, I don't know. And if you would like more content like this, please join my newsletter, my BizBuds newsletter. The link is in my bio if you're on Instagram, or below if you're watching this on YouTube, or on my blog. Yeah, you'll get a weekly digest of all our goodies to help you grow your business. This is totally free, and I hope it helps you. And thank you for joining our BizBuds community. All right, I'll see you next week live Monday at 10 Pacific Standard Time. And I'm going to stop singing. Goodbye.